only 3 months into his presidency, he did something completely unprecedented. He taped a 3.5-minute video message, both to the Iranian people and the Iranian government on the eve of the Iranian New Year. It was not only the medium that was unprecedented, but also the fact that the message was one in which Obama was reaching out both to the government and to the people. Obama was talking about how diplomacy was needed in order to have reconciliation between the United States and Iran, and that the problems between the United States and Iran could not be resolved through threats, which was a very clear departure from the philosophy of the Bush administration's approach towards Iran. The Iranian response to Obama's video message was very swift. Within a day, Iran's supreme leader, Ali Khamenei, held a 40-minute speech in his hometown of Mashhad. Most of those 40 minutes, in fact, probably 38 of those minutes, were spent on blasting the United States, all of the crimes that the US had committed against Iran from the Iranian perspective, but also expressing a lot of skepticism as to whether Obama is genuine, as to whether Obama actually is in control of US policy. Is Obama capable of changing a policy of enmity that essentially had been institutionalized on both sides? Is Congress more powerful than Obama, or can Obama himself actually call the shots? But at the end of the speech, he also gave an opening, a very critical opening, in which he said that Iran is not opposed to the negotiations and better relations, but you change, we change, was the line. And he emphasized that in order for change to really matter, change had to be strategic. It could not just be tactical. It could not just be a change of tone. It had to be a change of substance. And the Iranians repeatedly, throughout the first 6 months of the Obama administration, while expressing some hope, some positive approach, were emphasizing that at the end of the day, they would be convinced when they saw that there was an indication of a change in policy, not a change in posture. Now, time was short for the Obama administration, and it took until April to actually formulate the new policy. They didn't come in with a ready policy. And then Iran entered into its election season, and it was decided by the Obama administration not to pursue any diplomacy with Iran prior to the elections, partly because there was a fear that this could actually tilt the elections in the wrong direction, but partly because it was clear that the Iranians actually were not capable of negotiating with the United States while they were in the midst of a very heated presidential campaign. The expectation, of course, on the US side was that at the end of the elections, on June 13th, 2009, there would be some political clarity in Iran. Someone would have lost, someone would have won. And from the Obama administration's perspective, clearly there was a preference for Ahmadinejad not to be re-elected. But even if he was, there was a readiness to pursue diplomacy. What was not expected, however, was that on June 13th, instead of having political clarity, you would have greater political confusion than ever before because of the fraudulent elections, because of the massive demonstrations that followed these fraudulent elections, the massive human rights abuses that were taking place right in front of the world's eyes to see, and of course the violent, paralyzing infighting within the Iranian political elite that made it essentially impossible to pursue any diplomacy at that time. Now, what was the result for the Obama administration when all of this happened? Well, first of all, they had expected that within this 1 year of window that they could pursue diplomacy, they would be able to start it pretty soon after the elections. But now this was not a possibility because there was no political clarity in Iran. There was no functioning decision-making body in Iran that could actually focus on foreign policy. So they had to wait even further. Moreover, this was the first moral blow to the Obama administration's policy. They had taken a very strong position against what Bush had said about talking to governments such as that of Iran. But now when the entire world was seeing the abuse of the Iranian people on TV, it made it very difficult. One Obama administration official called it the first moral dilemma of the Obama administration when dealing with Iran.